In this video, I am going to talk about compile time errors as well as runtime errors and how you as a NXOpen developer can take the steps to resolve the errors. By the end of this video, you will be able to clearly differentiate the type of error that you are getting. Either it is a compile time error or a runtime error. So let's get started. I am going to explain compile time errors first and then we will take the runtime errors. I am going to explain these errors with the help of hands-on examples that I do have. You can see I do have a code opened in journal editor, and if I go through this code, I do not see any errors as such when I go through the code as it is written because it is a journal editor. I can only see the compile time errors when I run the code because it's a journal editor. Compile time errors are the kind of errors that we receive when we are compiling the code. In this case, this journal editor, which is a very simple form of writing the code, we are unable to see the compile time errors. But what will happen when I click on OK? When I click on play button, you could see I have got an error. The error itself says that journal compile errors. This is the way we know inside journal editor that this is a compile type error, and it suggests that line number 85 to have this error, and this curly bracket is expected there and it is not present. So this is how we know about the compile time errors in journal editor. Now I do have copied the same code inside Visual Studio. I have created a project and added the code into this file. Now you can see as I can navigate or scroll through this code, you can see there are some lines of code which are underlined with red color. This code is nothing but the errors. So these lines do have the errors, and as this is the kind of errors that we can see very easily at the time of compile, those are nothing but compile time errors. Visual Studio is a very advanced development environment, and that gives us the errors upfront without even we play our code or without even we run our code. So the beauty is we get to see all those errors very easily. All that lines which do have error, they are highlighted with red color. They are underlined with red color. Now, if I wanted to see the information about that error, I can even see it. If I put my cursor there, I can easily see that description of the error. It says that for each cannot operate method group, did you intend to evoke method group? So this is something as a programmer, as a developer, and someone who has the knowledge about C# programming language, which is the programming language used for this code, you should able to get some idea out of this description. And this code even do have some more errors. Those are related to some other lines of code, and there is a detailed description we can even see for that errors. So there are total of 8 errors we can see here, and we can even see all those 8 different errors in a list here. There are few warnings as well, but we can ignore them for now. We have to first give the attention to all the errors, and we have to see that we remove all those errors before we actually try to run our code. Now let's see runtime error. For runtime error, I have picked up another hands-on example. This example is quite short as compared to the earlier one, and I have see you can see that in a journal editor. as we know that in journal editor we cannot even see either compile error or a runtime error upfront. But before I tell you this code or before I describe this code to you in a Visual Studio, let me tell you what is runtime error. Runtime error are the type of errors they occur while we execute the program. Let me tell you what exactly uh, is meant by this. Now I have copied the same code in Visual Studio, and you can see that there is no error at all. We see that the count of errors is 0 in this case. It means that it does not have any compile error because at the time of compilation we cannot see any errors. Now we are going to run the same code through journal editor so that we can see whether it has any runtime errors or not. Now let me run this program in journal editor. I have run this program and I have encountered an error. So it says that journal execution error. As this is a journal execution error, we can say that this is nothing but a runtime error because this is something which has occurred during execution. So if there any error which occurs during execution, we can call it as a runtime error or even execution error. And we have also got the details about that error in this error message. There is one more type of error which is called logical error, which is way different than compile time error or runtime error. When you have written some logic inside your code and when you run your program, that program runs, but logically, whatever the expected answer or whatever outcome your code shall give, that outcome is incorrect. If your code is running smooth, but if the outcome that is expected out of the code, out of the logic, is not correct, then that times it is called logical error. Now let's look at how you can try to resolve these errors. Now, as you can see, this particular error, this is related to the runtime type of error, and you can very well see that there is a clear description about this error. It says that NX exception has occurred, and it is related to null tag not allowed, and it has also given the line which is NXOpen.uf.uf curve.create arc. This is the line that has this particular error, and we can very well clearly see that into the error message. And it has also given the line number. So you must be able to uh, rectify based on the details provided inside this error. But you can only do rectify this error based on the description given only when you do have the knowledge about the development in NXOpen. What I mean by the knowledge, definitely you need to have two type of skill set. First is, of course, your understanding of a programming language, and second is your knowledge of NXOpen APIs. So, if you do have the knowledge about a programming language and NXOpen programming, this information, this description about errors, whether this is a compile time error or whether this is a runtime error, you get the descriptive information about that error, and based on that error, you can backtrack and go to the reason behind that error and try to rectify, try to modify the code and try to resolve your error. So this is the only way to handle the errors. You must have the knowledge about the topic. Now let's summarize. Compile time errors are the kind of errors they appear when the compilation of a code appears. You can very easily see the errors in your code when you are using Visual Studio to write your program. And Visual Studio also gives you clear information about the error. When you do have compile time errors, your code is not going to execute at all, because if you do have compile time errors, your code is not going to work at all. Execution of the code is not at all possible. The second type of error, which is runtime error. In this kind of error, your program will work, you will able to execute your program, and your program might work partially, might get executed partially, and it will throw an error, and there is a possibility that your program can even crash, or it can even crash the NX running instance, because it is a runtime error. The runtime error is a type of error that happens when when your program is into the execution mode. And the last kind of error, which is a logical error. Logical error does not end in either in crash or any kind of error at all. In that case, your program runs very smoothly till the end without showing any error. But it is the kind of error that is inside your logic. Your logic is incorrect, and whatever the expected outcome your program shall have, you don't get that outcome because of that logical error. And when you do have a logical error, that time it makes sense that you have to rectify, you have to fix the gap into your logic itself. So this is the summary. That's it.
Meet your personal NXOpen learning assistant. You can get your answers, even guidance, and a code snippet instantly from this assistant. So, why are you waiting for? Try it now. If you like this video, then definitely please uh, hit that like button. And if you wanted to receive such video updates from me, then please do subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you for now. See you. Bye bye.